Hi, I'm here at Upton House in Warwickshire. It's very early spring, so really early in the season. I will be speaking with Alan, the gardener, and we'll have a look at what can be available in the next few weeks. How you doing? You all right?
Yeah, pleased to meet you.
Yeah, pleased to meet you as well. As you can see, we've got some brassicas. I can see there's some leeks and there's some spinach as well, which is great because I've got a recipe that I want to use those in. I know we're right at the very beginning of spring now, so I'm kind of thinking maybe 4, 5, 6 weeks time. I want to look at using some peas maybe. So I know they can be quite early peas, can't they?
Yes, we get them in, now, and they'll soon make good headway.
I'll pop back in a few weeks' time. We'll have a look at some peas and we'll do some recipes from that.
Yes.
Excellent. Thank you very much. And I'm now in one of the holiday cottages at Upton House, and I've come to use the kitchen here. This is a goat's cheese and spinach quiche, so just right for spring. We're going to start by making the pastry to line the case with. So I've got plain flour, I've got some chopped mixed herbs, I've got a mixture of butter and margarine just to lighten it a little bit. So we're just going to break that into the flour, and then we're going to rub that in, lift it up, and just push the fat and flour between your fingers and your thumb until the mixture resembles fine breadcrumbs. So we're just going to crack an egg into there and start working that around with our fingers. Now if the mixture feels a bit too dry, which this does, we just add a little bit of water. And then we're just going to gently give it a couple of little folds just to bring it together. And now that's ready to be rolled out. So this is going to go into a 9-inch sandwich tin. Now we're going to use a fork to just prick the bottom. So now we're just going to use a piece of greaseproof paper to line that. I've got some baking beans, and then we're going to get that straight into the oven. That's at about 15 minutes, it's got a nice colour and it's set quite well. We're just going to put that over to one side while we make the filling. Start by chopping the onion. Next we've got garlic, I've got a bit of parsley, I've got a little bit of sage. So the next ingredient, which I got from the garden, is spinach. Now I've already wilted the spinach down, and then we're going to chop the spinach as well. Really nutritious, plenty of iron, and it'll add a huge bulk of flavour into this quiche. And before we saute these on the hob, I'm just going to make up the custard mix that'll bind it all together. I'm just going to break the eggs. I've got some salt and some pepper. I've now got a mix of milk and double cream. And again, just mix that through. That's the custard mix made up. I'm just going to get the rest of the ingredients ready. So I've got some potatoes which have been cooked and diced. So they're still al dente, still got a little bit of a bite left in them. I've got some goat's cheese, which I've cut into cubes. There's a little bit of balsamic vinegar, and then I've got a cooking apple. By adding the apple, it just adds a different note to it. So a bit tartness going in there with that goat's cheese. So that's everything ready. So now I'm going to go over to the hob and we'll start cooking off the onions. Straight into the pan, and we're just going to let those saute for a couple of minutes. So next we're going to add in the herbs, and the sage will give a real earthiness to the dish. We get the spinach in, and finally we're just going to add in the balsamic vinegar. So now I'm going to reduce the heat, and we're just going to let this sit for 5 minutes and let all the liquids release out of there. So we got the pastry case that we prepared earlier on, put those straight into the bottom of there, scatter the potatoes over, sprinkle the apple in and the goat's cheese. Then we're going to pour in the custard mix, and then we'll get that straight into the oven. It should take around 40 minutes to cook. To serve the goat's cheese and spinach quiche, I've got some crushed new potatoes. So there's a little bit of mint, a little bit of butter through those. I've then got a mixed spring vegetable, and there's a few peas in there and some parsley. So that's it. So that's the goat's cheese and spinach quiche, perfect for spring.